Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. Wife had an online affair when we started going to marriage counselling. Advice appreciated, folded hands. Seeking support/validation. Me, M24, and my wife, F23, have had a rocky relationship the last 6 months. We got married 2.5 years ago. The marriage counselor was open and honest with me on my mistakes, and although I was a bit hard-headed, I eventually understood my issues and I started to make drastic changes. I am now going to the gym 5 days a week. I have been much more persistent in loving her and dating my wife. I have been listening to her instead of trying to answer every question. I have grown closer to God in my faith. Essentially, I have been growing as an individual to be the best version of myself. And for about 3 days I was feeling great about my efforts and telling her how sorry I was for how I've been. However, despite this, I still noticed her being distant. I thought that she just needed time to see my efforts in changing were genuine. I wasn't perfect, I made mistakes with her. I stopped being the guy she wanted to be with. But I apologized for this and told her that going forward a change would happen. My marriage counselor saw this change and was proud of me for making these changes. But also through this time I noticed how she had been growing closer to her online friends. She's been receiving Snapchats. She holds the phone away from me when she texts. She acts cold to me when I try to be intimate. Yesterday I had felt like something still wasn't adding up. That there was a piece of the puzzle that was missing. I loved this woman and have been giving my all listening in marriage counseling, doing what I needed to do to change. And yet, there was no change for her. So, I checked one of her devices despite knowing already what I would probably find. On the device everything was revealed. Ever since we started going to counseling, she has been sexting and messaging one of her online friends. Doing it while I'm not home at work. Doing it in our bed. Doing it all while I told her my greatest fear was being cheated on, and she told me that I never have to worry about that from her. I was not distraught upon finding this, instead I felt vindicated. That this relationship was failing not just because of my mistakes, but because she was also failing. I immediately called my marriage counselor, and she was shocked to hear this. She stated that this was unexpected from her, and explained how I should handle it. I confronted her when she got home from work. I asked her to sit in the living room with my mother and father present to have witnesses. I told her that I knew, and asked her what her plan was. For me to find out and then walk? For her to keep this up as I was getting better? She said she didn't have a plan, nor an excuse. She said she feels terrible she did this, and said that it was a friendship that got out of hand. That she wanted to stop, but used it as an escape from our marriage problems. She said she was never ready to get married, that she got married because that's what she was expected to have, a sheltered religious upbringing. She revealed these deeper issues to me, but again, she said she should have been more honest with me and said that she feels nothing but regret and shame for her actions. That night we slept in separate beds for the first time in a long time. Just the night before she told me how much she loved me and was proud of me for getting better. This whole time, it was a lie. She was seeking pleasure from another man. I went for a walk last night and prayed my heart out. I went back to the room and told her I forgive her, but I am still hurt. I told her I still want this to work, but things would need to be different. My marriage counselor stated that we will be having an emergency meeting on Monday. In the meeting a plan will be put in place on how to proceed. In my heart, I still love her, and I want to make this work and rebuild. However, if she is hesitant, or says she needs more time to figure herself out, then it will be over. My marriage counselor said I need to value myself, because I deserve to be loved and chased after by someone who will put in 100% just like me on making this work. To be honest though, I already kinda know that her heart probably isn't in it to make it work. But until I ask her myself directly and want a straight answer, I will not know. What hurts the most is that she was never honest with how she felt. If I was really feeling like it was too late after my mistakes, then I'd rather her have just left me. This has rocked my confidence, which I was already struggling with. This morning she said she was in disbelief that I could find it in myself to forgive her. But she doesn't know how she can forgive herself, and she needs that time. Last night she said she wanted to just be friends for now, as being close feels too painful. It's understandable, as D-Day just happened. I am not spiteful of her. My faith in God and my belief system has given me peace through this hurricane of emotions. I want the best for her. I want her to be happy. If it's with me, then we will reconcile and work it out. If it isn't, I hope she finds happiness somewhere else in life, since she does have really deep emotional issues tied to her family origins. Would like some advice from those here on how I should approach this going forward. On what feelings I might expect. On what life will be like if this doesn't work out, or if it will. I love this woman, I do, but I also know if it wasn't meant to be, then it wasn't meant to be. Thank you for reading. Update: wife had a one-line affair when we started to marriage counseling, seeking support/validation. Original post. So, it turns out this affair has been going on since January. Back then it was more of an emotional affair, but then escalated as time went on. Last night she stated that she has been wanting out of the marriage since January but didn't know how to say it because she was afraid. This was despite me never laying a hand on her or ever yelling at her. She even contacted him again last night after she said she would break things off. I asked her up front if she had feelings for this guy, and she said yes, she did. She said that she is sorry, that I deserve a better wife, and I agreed. She said that she is messed up and a terrible person, and yes, I agree. She said she is a habitual liar, and yup, nailed that one. She has been lying to my face for 5 months now that everything was fine and nothing was going on. She has been slowly turning the story against me with her friends and family privately. Telling them how I don't like any of them, how I like to put on a fake face around people, but I am a selfish person. Yay. I wonder how much of that was just her trying to play it up because she caught feels for another guy. I still told her that I loved her, deep down I do. But because I love myself also, I can't do this anymore. She hurt me, she has continued to hurt me. This year she has made me feel like I have had to walk eggshells around her, trying to figure out what she was thinking. I had to live in fear if I was or wasn't doing the correct things. Even though I have sincerely apologized for mistakes I've made and she said she forgave me. But she never did, and it hurts being lied to that I thought someone was willing to give me a chance when it was all a lie. I don't even know what her plan was, to keep this up for longer while I continued to think it was all my fault. To eventually walk away randomly without me ever knowing why? She says she feels disrespected that I checked her devices to discover all this, but how does she think I feel? She said that from the very beginning of our marriage she knew she wasn't ready, but never expressed it to me. Never gave me hints. Kept enabling me when she didn't raise concerns over mistakes I was making. Telling me everything was alright. Telling me she was still in love with me. How much of that was a lie, I wonder? For 4 years I gave this woman my heart, I chased after her and we had the fairy tale wedding and courtship. All of that was a lie. I told her I don't feel comfortable with her in the house, especially when she made a comment last night asking if she could trust me. She stated she could stay at a friend's place for the time being. She packed her things and left quickly. She said she regretted that things went this far, but I don't want to hear it. She has no idea how much she has scared me. She has no idea how much the images of the things she had done in my bed for this other guy have haunted me. How much she has hurt me. If she was truly unhappy, she should have just told me and left like an adult. Not play me around as if things could potentially work out. She said it best. She has acted like an immature girl when I deserve a mature woman. I wish her the best. She has deep issues that need to be resolved so she can be happy again with herself. She is terrified of how she will break the news to her parents of what she did to me. I'm sure though, she will bend the truth and lie to some extent about what happened. But I don't care what her family or friends think. I deleted my social media and blocked numbers so those jackasses will never contact me if they think this is all somehow my fault. I will not hear any of it. I am done. I'm checked out. Completely. We don't have any major assets and she already has her own separate bank account. This process of separation will be very easy. I've spoken to my father who has gone through this before and he is walking me through, so I am in good hands and have a great support group. I cried one final time last night, not for losing her, but the immense feeling of shame that was hovering over my head this year to finally be gone. It still comes in waves, but it gets easier when I remember the things she did. How she was wayward. How she folded at the first test of our relationship. I recorded our final conversation for my own protection. She stated clearly in the video that this was on her and this was mostly her fault that this thing failed. Before anyone asks, it was legal for me to do this. I checked the laws of my state. I told her that these past 4 years have been the best times of my life with her, but our time has passed. This next week I'll be cleaning up the room and putting her things in boxes. Looking forward to having more space. I'm not looking for advice from you guys really. Just wanted to update things on what happened. Slowly but surely I am getting better already and will continue to improve myself for the woman that truly deserves and desires me. Some tips on how to move forward would be great. Honestly though, I'm feeling kinda proud of how I handled things. I never lashed out or got overly emotional. Thank you. An update on how I'm doing post-separation. Self-reflection on my past relationship and my future. Post-separation. Hello. This is my story right here. I have been doing much better, but some days are harder than most. Sometimes I see mental images of the things my soon-to-be ex-wife sent to her AP. It tears me up inside, but I am getting better. There's no point in holding on to those memories, so part of the process has been letting go. What has helped me is this mindset. The woman I thought I was married to was just a fantasy. The shy innocent girl who said she loved me and was proud of me wasn't true. The woman who said she wanted this to be in a forever kind of relationship was not true. The woman who stated she would never betray me because she was betrayed before was not true. It is getting easier. Part of that is what my therapist told me. I had been grieving this loss for months already. Ever since issues arose in the relationship months ago, I had been depressed about thinking the relationship failing was my fault. I would cry myself to sleep, take long walks around the neighborhood at 1 a.m. I would also walk around eggshells with her, not knowing what she was thinking. The extent of what she did to me also helped in a way. Now that I've had time to process what she did to me, the reality is that she did something no man should have to go through. She developed this emotional attachment in a rough patch in the relationship and allowed it to brew. She knew it was wrong, but allowed it to happen. Because I still respected her time and wanted her to have her gaming time, she was openly chatting and laughing with her AP while I was in the room. She would stay up super late playing games with him, hanging out online, telling stories, and watching movies with him. She did this while he was webcamming to her and smiling the whole time. She did all this while I was still living in the room with her, feeling awful that the relationship failing was my fault. She was having this emotional affair openly in front of me while she felt no remorse whatsoever. She did this for 5 months, guys. She even grew close to one of her male co-workers, texting him all the time and sending him kissy face emojis. She was living a double life. She wanted the security that a husband and family brought while also living that single bad girl life. She did all this thinking she would never be caught. She underestimated how much I knew her and loved her to know something was up. You probably will tell me, well, why didn't you see these obvious red flags? The truth is, well, I trusted her. I trusted her with my heart that nothing nefarious was going on. She told me these lies with a straight face and a smile. What this woman has done to another human being is beyond shocking. to make another human being feel worthless and that things are his fault when in reality she was betraying and lying. It is just awful. I have been filling out the divorce paperwork. We have agreed to terms and agreed to make this a mutual split to avoid having to deal with legal bullshit. My mother has stayed in contact with her due to my mother having the biggest heart I've ever seen. My mother has told me that the amount of shame that my STBXW feels is immense. My mom stated that the idea of even looking at me hurts her. And it's true. I went to the mall the other day to take care of some finances and I saw her sitting with friends. She immediately saw me and put her head down and excused herself. I walked on with pride. I trust my mother on this as she is a good judge of character and has suspected something nefarious had been going on for a little while now but could never confirm it. My mother says that she is starting to face the reality of the situation. The fact that she now has to live on her own, paying the kind rent prices that the world has today, the prices that my parents took care of when we were living with them. My mother is the kindest soul in the world. You may say she should cut her off, but I disagree. I think her maintaining a somewhat close relationship with my mom is good because by her own words, at times she felt closer to my mother than her own. And she threw that relationship away. The shame she must feel every time my mother shows her kindness gives me a tiny bit of satisfaction. She is starting to face the reality of losing a connection, in her words, the nicest Christian family she has ever met that was so accepting of everyone and loving everyone. She is facing the reality that a man she spent 4 years with in a close relationship who showed nothing but love and humility is now out of her life in the worst way. She knows what she did was terrible, but I don't think she will ever realize the extent of what she did. But I don't care about petty revenge. I've only told a group of close friends what has happened and have left it at that. I don't want this woman to ever be back in my life because I deserve better. She told her parents that it was a mutual decision between me and her to split, except that is a lie. I wanted to make it work. Despite it all, I vowed for better or for worse and was willing to go on the hard journey of reconciliation. I was offering her a chance at continuing to have my family and my love. And she said no. She said a part of her still loves me, but a part of her has feelings for her AP. Unbelievable. She now has to deal with the reality of continuing to lie to her parents. Her parents probably think that I didn't try and fight for it. That I was no good for her anyway. If only they knew the extent of what even a fraction of what the truth is. I'm not going to break the news to them, because the only way she will ever live her life without shame is if she starts living in truth. This is my revenge in a way. She has to face the reality of telling her extremely religious parents what she has done on her own accord. I know this is tearing her up to have to continue to lie to them. It brings me a bit of satisfaction. I have lost 15 pounds after hitting the gym more regularly already. The motivation to get that amazing body to show her up is what fueled me at first, but wanting to have a great body for my own health is what is fueling me now. My mental health has been up and down, but that is to be expected, I suppose. The other day I cried telling my mom I wanted her back. My mom held me and told me that her baby boy deserves so much more. The truth is I don't want her back. I want the fantasy in my head of what she was to me. That's it. The woman I thought I was in love with was a lie. Friends have been very supportive of me and have told me they are shocked any woman would ever consider cheating on me. They all know how compassionate I am for other people, how I'm always there to have a soldier to lean on, how I'm always there to step in and help when push comes to shove. They've given me great motivation through all of this. They are seriously the bestest of friends a guy could ask for. I know that I am not ready for a long-term relationship yet, but I also have kept my heart open just a little to notice other girls looking at me. Maybe it's a little weird, but some of the women my age at church have heard about our separation and were very cordial with me this last Sunday. One of them wouldn't leave me alone as I helped break down church after service. It's a nice feeling to have. One of my greatest fears is dying alone, and I thought after this that maybe I would. I mean, if this woman walked out on me and did this to me, would I ever truly find someone again? But I know that isn't true. I'm a handsome guy, I'm getting into the best shape in my life. And this situation has matured and strengthened me in a way that only the fire of betrayal can. I won't be the one to get into a deep depression over this. I am 24 years old and my journey on earth has only just now started. People are sometimes in your life for only a season. This season will pass for me. This too shall pass. Words can't describe how grateful I am for everyone who has commented on my posts offering words of encouragement and wisdom. You have all been an inspiration in and of itself, with how many of you are so willing to offer generous advice to me free of charge out of the kindness of your hearts. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for reading this, heart. I end this overly long self-therapeutic post with a recent quote from Kendrick Lamar that really resonated with me. In a land where hurt people hurt more people. Duck calling that culture. I just don't get the why rant. I don't get why she would do what she did. She had a safe house, a loving husband changing for the better, an in-law family that loved her, a mother-in-law that she felt she could be more honest with than her own. And she threw it all away like that. 2 years of marriage. And she just imploded it without trying to at least try and reconcile. It's just insane to me. She now has to live on her own, doesn't have the support of my family anymore, doesn't have the security of a loving husband that would have died for her. And she is still telling people it was a mutual decision, as if I didn't cry my eyes out to her asking her not to throw this all away. I just don't understand how a woman can be so heartless when it was only 2 weeks ago when she said she loved me with her whole heart. She'll never know how much she has actually hurt another human being with her actions. To just abandon someone so easily. Having a rough night ATM. Going to my first in-person therapy session post-separation plus positive updates. Progress. Feels kinda weird but also encouraging. The last time I saw her in person was with my wife before I discovered everything. Now that I'm going in person alone, I feel both happy and sad. Happy that I'm still going to heal and seek self-betterment, but sad that all this happened anyway. Like I was the only one who made it out alive in the battle. I read that a lot of people here have said that it is like mourning the death of a person. The wife I thought I had is indeed dead, and in its place is a lying, manipulative person who set the house on fire because the room was getting a little cold. I'm also planning on going to a men's group tonight to be around other men, many of which have gone through shit marriages before. It is a weekly church activity that men of the church go to, so it will also draw me closer to that side of my life that has really helped me during this time. Things are looking up right now. I guess the one that still sucks is missing that connection to someone else. I understand that I have to be comfortable being on my own again, but still sleeping alone at night and having my room empty is a strange feeling. I have my family only a door away, of course, but when the night winds down it's a strange feeling being alone. Not too uncomfortable, but definitely strange. Although I do sleep better at night, funny enough. Maybe it sounds a bit silly, but I also miss having sex, lol. It's just a physical need, of course, and there are alternative ways of taking care of it, but still it doesn't come close to the real thing. But it's not a huge deal, just something that's kinda annoying to miss having. First therapy session since separation went extremely well. Recovery. Yesterday was my first in-person therapy session after our separation. My therapist told me that she is proud of how I handled things and gave me lots of validation on how I was changing for the better despite her lying. She asked me a very important question and asked me to seriously think, if she were to come back to you and say she now wants to make things work, would you? I told her I wasn't sure anymore and I was actually enjoying being away from her now. She told me that she is happy to hear that, because it's a sign that I value myself a lot more now than I did before. She told me that if she did somehow come back, I would need to consider that reconciliation is not an easy path. That it would require a long and difficult journey of basically rebuilding the marriage and setting hard boundaries. But she stated that I need to do what I think is best for myself and that some people are in our lives for a season only for a reason. She said that this experience will give me a good lesson on setting boundaries in my next relationship and will make me an even better spouse in some of the areas that I did admittedly fail in. She stated pretty clearly though that in the end, I should hold my head up high because I was not the reason. She said she actually did reach out to her with a text, basically saying that she offers no judgment and if she needs to reach out for mental health reasons that the door is always open. But she did make it clear that the path she is walking down is not a direction she would recommend based on her past experiences with clients. My STBXW of course did not respond and left the message on read. My therapist stated that the direction that I am moving in, connecting closer to my faith, working hard on my body, rekindling relationships with friends, seeking self-help and betterment is the correct path to take. She said the path that she is going on is spooky. That's literally the best word she could have used, spooky. She is running away into the dark woods when the safety of the cabin was offered to work things out. My STBXW is currently struggling to find a place to stay. She is hopping from friend to friend trying to find a place to stay for the night because rent here is super high and in high demand. She's essentially living out of her car, which funny enough needs to have serious work done on it soon that I was planning to have fixed myself, plus she'll need to buy insurance for that thing soon lol. I didn't explicitly kick her out though. I asked her if she had somewhere else she could stay because of a stupid comment she made the night of D-Day. "Can I trust you?" was what she said, and later explained that in her last relationship when her previous partner had suspected her of cheating he punched her. I have never laid a hand on her nor have ever yelled at her. Her head is on another planet. I told my therapist some of the things I was still struggling with, the mental images and the jealousy I still have sometimes. She stated clearly that it is perfectly normal and if I didn't experience that I wouldn't be human. It's also a sign that my feelings for her were very genuine. She told me something that was very enlightening. Yes she is religious, said that if God had meant this relationship to be, it would have worked out. The fact that it isn't and that it is ending can be taken as God telling me that she isn't right for me. This is true I feel. I don't think she would have been a great life partner if in the first test of our relationship she folded and dropped everything for an online crush she has never even met in person before. The session ended with her explaining how I shouldn't be developing trust issues. Part of the reason we fall in love is due to giving trust to another person and being vulnerable. Boundaries are important, sure, but trust is vital to any relationship. She told me not to let one incredibly selfish person ruin my view on relationships because plenty of people are not like her and have a good moral compass. I left feeling very confident in my future and the advice she gave me. I'll be seeing her weekly to talk things over and continue to seek self-betterment. I'll even be starting a new job soon since school will be out and I'll be out of a job. I'm a teacher. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please comment, like and subscribe. Cheers. Have a wonderful day or night. Wherever you are.